got an exciting night tonight on events and Venn diagrams. This is going to entail a lot of drawing, so make sure you leave enough room in your notebook. So maybe you are or are not familiar with a Venn diagram. So what is it? Basically, it's a visual diagram used to represent a sample space. It is what we like to say a visual representation of the population. So go ahead and sketch this first Venn diagram for yourself. You notice I already did all the math in the Venn diagram. We just want to really analyze it and what is it showing us. So this S here represents sports, students that play sports, and the B here represents students that are in the band. So again, this is a Venn diagram. We're always going to draw this box around it. You should have a number inside there. You should have a number where the two circles overlap, and then a number in each side if you're not familiar. So what do any of this mean? Well, the box itself, or the rectangle, represents the population of the school. So maybe we interviewed students at Hamburg High School, and this was the results we get. This box represents all of the population of Hamburg High School that we interviewed. Maybe this is the entire school, maybe it's the senior class, the junior class, I don't know at the moment, but this box represents whoever we asked. That's the population. So let's talk about what this is showing. So looking at my Venn diagram, blank students participate in sports, but not in band. Which of these numbers would you say represent students that are in the sports section, but not the band section? So here's how I look at it. I go to the sports circle, so anybody in the circle plays a sport. But I don't want to be in band, so I basically have to take out anybody that's in the band half of it. So I would say that number is the 442 number. This little section here is students that are in sports but not band. The next question, blank students play in what but not what? Well, I would say 31 students play in the band but are not in sports. Does that make sense to you? So here's my band circle. This 31 represents the people that are in the band, but not in the circle with the S, the sports circle. Blank students participate in both band and sports. Which number represents both band and sports? Well, I would say that's where the sports and the band circles overlap. So this is the key word and. This 21 is in both sports and in band. Blank students neither participate in band nor play a sport. So which number says I'm not in the band and I'm not in a sport? So basically I can't be inside this circle or this circle. That leaves me with this 339. Alright, so looking at the same picture, we'll try to answer a few more questions. How many students participate in sports? So I'm basically asking you, how many students are in the sports circle? I would say to find that, I would just do 442 plus 21 for a total of 463. Part B, how many students play in the band? Well, again, how many students are in the band circle? I would say that's 31 plus 21 for a total of 52. Part C, how many students do not participate in a sport? So now I want everybody that is not in the S section. Now be careful, the answer is just not 31. I agree 31 are not in the sports circle at all, but also there's 339 people that don't do either. So I would say that's a total of 31 plus 339, for a total of 370. Now, notice as you write this question down, I want you to put this in a capital and box it. How many students participate in sports or play in the band? So you could be in the sports circle or the band circle. I would say I would take the 442, so that's the sports only, plus the band only, plus the overlapping section of 21. So I would say that's 494 students total that are in sports or band. Notice and is just the overlapping, but the or is all of this. Okay, as far as what you need in your notes, guys, basically what I need you to do is draw 4 boxes like this. So 4 with an SB and a rectangle around it, and there's A, B, C, and D that go with it. When you're ready, turn it back on. At a high school, some students play soccer and some do not. Also, some students play basketball and some do not. So S obviously stands for soccer and B stands for basketball. The scenario can be represented by a Venn diagram as shown. S is the students that play soccer, B is the students that play basketball, and here they want us to evaluate several different things. So on the Venn diagram, I want you to shade in the section that they're describing. What students play soccer? So I'm saying anybody who's in circle S plays soccer. Whoops. Guess I need to do a better job there. So anybody in that section plays soccer. Part B says the students who do not play soccer. So who does not play soccer? Well, that means you're not in circle S. So I'm going to kind of go around. And basically anybody... Oops, I lost my highlighter. Anybody who is not in that circle does not play soccer. Okay, so this is the soccer circle. Anybody who's not in there does not play soccer. C, the students who play soccer and basketball. So you have to be in both the S and the B section. And I would say that's just this little section in there. D, the students who play soccer or basketball. So you could be in the S circle or the B circle. All right, so again, what do you need in your notes for this question? You're going to need these 4 pictures drawn out. So I would do the same thing. Take a moment, pause it, draw those 4 out. Okay, now that you're ready to go, I really want you to try this one on your own. So I'm just going to get my answers up here in a few minutes. Don't cheat yourself. Take a few seconds and shade in each section that it's describing. So just to be clear, F is the set of books that are fiction and E is the set of ebooks. So pause it, see what you got. So here are my 4. You can see what you think. Ebooks basically said I needed to be in the E circle. Not fiction said anybody outside of the F circle. And these are the only place where these 2 things overlap for my and. And or means I could be in here or here, so anybody in there. I actually have 2 more that go with this, so again, pause it, get them drawn out. I want books that are neither works of fiction nor available as ebooks. So that's telling me I don't want to be in any of that. I want to be basically outside of those. I can't be inside of either one. Could not thin out this highlighter, I apologize. And F, books that are works of fiction that are not ebooks. So I can just be a fiction, but I can't be in the E section. Okay, now we get to the fun part where you have to be able to assign the values to these sections. So think about the school introduced in example 1. We had students that played soccer or basketball. Suppose that 230 students play soccer and 190 students play basketball, and 60 students play both. There are a total of 500 students in the school. Complete the Venn diagram below by writing in the numbers for the various regions. Okay, so here's what I say to myself. I know that the soccer circle has to be 230. That does not mean you go and you slap 230 in that picture at all. What that means, I want you to draw a straight line down. That whole circle has to be 230. And 190 students play basketball. So again, that means that whole circle has to be 190. Not that little section of the circle. The whole circle is 190 and the whole circle is 230. And now they're telling me 60 students play both. The only both section there is right here. So I can go and stick 60 in there right away. Now we just need a little common sense. If 190 have to be in this circle, and you currently have 60 in there already, I'm just going to say 190 minus 60 is 130. And that's how I'm going to get this section. Because remember, this whole circle has to add up to 190. Same idea over here in my soccer section. This whole circle has to add up to 230. And I already have 60 members in it, so I'm left with 170. And do a quick check. Does that whole thing add up to 230? Now how about the outside number? Well, remember, I have 500 students in the school, so I'm going to start with 500. And I've taken out 170, 60, and 130. How many do I have left over? Well, I would say I'm left with 140. So again, I started with the 500 in the school, and I took out those three numbers, and I'm left with 140 students. Now that you have your Venn diagram in, we can answer these questions. So how many students play basketball but not circle? How many students are in the B circle but not included in the S part? Hopefully you're saying 130. How did I get that? Well, the B circle was the 190. I had to take out the 60, so I'm left with 130. Suppose that a student will be selected at random from the school. What is the probability that students play both sports? I want you to box this word in probability. Okay, we've already kind of reviewed that a couple days ago. The probability that the event will occur over the probability of the total. So, what do I want to happen? Well, I want to be in both sports. So what number represents both sports? That would be 60, where they both occur, out of the total sample space, which is a total of 500 students. So remember, probability can be expressed three ways. That answer is perfect, a fraction. You could divide it to get a decimal, 0.12, or you can convert it to a percent, 12%. Okay, example 3. Think again about the online bookstore introduced in example 1. Suppose 62% of the books are fiction and 47 are ebooks, and 14 are sold as ebooks but not works of fiction. Using the Venn diagram, find the following probabilities. So now basically, I don't have like a total amount. I'm just going to put everything in terms of probability. So here's what I know. 62% are fiction. So again, I want you to draw a line. That has to be 62% or 0.62, the whole circle, not that little piece. The whole fiction circle is 0.62. 47 are ebooks, so this whole E circle has to be 0.47 or 47%. And now here's the different one. 14 are ebooks but not fiction. Which piece is that describing? You can be in the E circle but not the F circle. So I would say they're coming out and telling me that this little piece here is 0.14. I can be in the E section but not the F section. So now we can easily go get all the numbers. If this whole thing is 0.47, and you already know 0.14, I'm just doing, that's off to the side here, 0.47 minus 0.14, and that should get me 0.33. Now again, if this whole circle is 0.62, and you know 0.33 already, then I know this is 0.29. Now, remember, you have to total 1. So that tells me I can get this outside number real easily. I can do 1 minus, let's see, where can I write this at the top here? 1 minus 0.29 minus 0.33 minus 0.14. So I would say outside I'm left with 0.24. Now again, once you fill this diagram in, the questions are pretty easy. First question, using this Venn diagram, the book is a work of fiction and an ebook. So So I want to be fiction and an ebook. The only place those two meet would be that 0.33. The book is neither a work of fiction nor an ebook. So you can't be in this circle or this circle. Leaves me outside with 0.24. All right. So now it says, how would this information be shown in a hypothetical 1,000 table? So basically we're now saying, let's assume there's 1,000 total of our population. Can we fill in this table? Well, of course we can. We know 62% have to be total the fiction section, right? If I look back, I said that whole circle has to total 62%. So I know my total fiction amount has to be 62%. Well, 62% of what? Well, they said, let's pretend it's 1,000. So I'm just going to do 0.62 times 1,000. And of course, I hope you can do that in your head. That's just 620. 47% have to be ebook. So that whole ebook section has to total 47%. So 0.47 times 1,000 is 470. So now I got to find ebook, which is going this way, and that total is 470. And 14% are ebook, but not fiction. So 0.14 times 1,000, of course, is 140. Now where does that go? You can be an ebook, so available is ebook, but you are not fiction. So ebook, but not fiction would be right here, and I would say that's a total of 140. Now, believe it or not, I think you got enough information to fill in the rest of the table. And that's what question 2 says. Complete the hypothetical 1,000 table. Well, let's just use some common sense. If this column totals 1,000, and this is 470, that must make this 530. If these two total 470, and you already know 140, 470 minus 140 gets me 330. If this column totals 620, and you already have 330, that's left with 290. Again, these total 530. 290 from 530 gets me 240. And then this column should total here for a total of 380. And all in all, this better add up to 1,000. Part 3 says, just complete this table as probabilities. So basically, as fractions, decimals, or percents. So the total population was 1,000, and 1,000 out of 1,000 is 1. So this whole thing has to total 1. If I'm out of 1,000, 470 as a percent would be point, or a probability, 47. 530 would be 0.53. If I add those together just to verify, I better get 1. 140 would be 0.14. 240 would be 0.24. And that would be a total of 0.38. 0.33, 0.29, and 0.62. And again, they better add to 1 in this direction, and they better add to 1 in this direction. So how do the probability table compare to the probabilities you calculated in Part A? They should be the exact same. Alright, so another one we've got to fill in. When a fish is selected at random from a tank, the probability it has a green tail is 0.64. The probability it has a red fins is 0.25, and the probability that it has both is 0.19. So again, I'm saying the green tail, that whole green section has to be 0.64. The whole red section has to be 0.25. And the probability that it has both is 0.19, which is wonderful because we can stick that in right away, 0.19. So you should easily be able to get that piece by saying 0.25 minus 0.19 and 0.64 minus 0.19. So let's see, that leaves me with a 0.06, and this leaves me with a 0.45. Okay, again, once you fill this table in, it's a piece of cake. We want to have red fins, but not a green tail. So I need to be in the red section, but not the green section. I'm going with 0.06. See what you think of that. Green tail, so you need to be in the green section, but not red fins. So you can't be in the red section. Hopefully you're saying 0.45. Now you'll notice I got ahead of myself and I didn't even put in the section that goes in the box. What should this total probability be out of? Well, of course, 1. And I can subtract my 0.45, I can subtract my 0.19, and I can subtract my 0.06, and that leaves me with a 0.30. So, like I said, don't get ahead of yourself like I just did. Make sure you get this piece of it as well. The probability that the fish has neither a green tail nor a red tail, so you can't be in the green and you can't be in the red, which means you're outside. So that's a 0.30. So don't forget to get that piece. All right, in a company, 43% of the employees have a fax machine. 38% have access to a fax machine and a scanner, and 24% have neither access to a fax machine nor a scanner. All right, so what do I know about this picture? 43% have access to the fax machine, so 0.43 for the F circle. 38% have access to the fax machine and a scanner. Well, if I'm in the fax machine and a scanner section, that's this little piece right here, and I can stick that in automatically, so I know that's 0.38. 24% have access to neither the fax machine or scanner, so that's my outside number. So can I easily fill in the rest of this Venn diagram? I think so. So I'm going to start with that 0.43 and subtract out the 0.38, and that's going to get me a 0.05, I believe. Now, how are you going to get this missing piece? Well, remember, all of probability has to total 1. So I can do 1 minus 0.05 minus 0.38 minus 0.24, and that leaves me with 0.33. Now we can answer the question. Suppose that an employee will be selected at random. Using a Venn diagram, calculate the probability that randomly selected employee will not have access to a scanner. So remember, I do not want access to a scanner. I do not want to be in this S circle. So I would say that's 0.24 plus 0.05 for a total of 0.29. So I would say 29% will not have access to a scanner. Well, I think that does it for us tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed this introduction to Venn diagrams, and we're going to have some great practice tomorrow. Have a great night.